Hello everyone, welcome to letscode.xyz. In this video tutorial, you are going to be introduced to object-oriented programming in Python. So, you must be at this stage of this course, and this is the example we are going to use to learn object-oriented programming in Python. Let's get started. So, what is happening here? Why are there three, you know, two Python files and one executed, Python shell where the result of this Python file is presented? So basically, what we are doing here is we are writing a class in one file that is called meta. I called it meta. I don't know the reason for that one. So we have three different classes, but the functions inside these classes perform the same operation. And then we are importing those classes into a new Python file called class example, and then we are creating object of those classes here object of those classes, and then we are calling the functions in the corresponding classes to perform the operation it's supposed to perform. So let's first see like what's actually happening here. Let's go through these classes. So in class LV meta, LV is local variable, GV global variable. This one object meta. It's just I gave it some name, so you could call that anything you want. Um, so I've defined two functions. Each function has its own local variable a, b, and then the result, so it's actually going to print out the summation of a and b. So the subtraction is going to do subtraction on those two variables, and then it's going to print out the result. Divide is going to like divide them, and then it's going to print out the results. Okay, the reason why I didn't give 0 here is because it's gonna give me an error. If you don't pass any value, you just call this method, so it's gonna like go up to infinity, which is not possible, so it's gonna give me an error. So that is what this function is all about. Now gv methods, it's called a global variable because I declared a and b outside. So, and it has this init function. So what's gonna happen is every time you call this method or create an object of, every time you call this class or create an object of this class, this function is going to be executed by default. So these two are the global variables of this class. So it can be accessed anywhere inside this any of these methods. So what I'm gonna do is, when you initialize this class by passing a and b as an arguments, any values for a and b like 3, 5 or whatever. So these global values are going to be initialized. So now here I'm defining a function without passing any variables like a and b, just calling self, which refers to the class itself. So, and inside that function, I'm actually printing out the summation of global variable in add function, and difference between the global variables for subtraction and division of global variables in divide function. So that is what this global variable class is all about. So during the function call, you don't have to pass any values. You just have to initialize an object of this class by passing values for a and b. Okay, so that is what this is all about. Here It is called object meta class. You could actually call it anything you want. So what's happening here is, so this is sort of class variable. So this is sort of class variable. Once you initialize an object of this class by passing the values for a and b, this class variable will get initialized. Self.a is the variable of this class. Self.b is a variable of this class. So it's going to take whatever value you pass here during class initialization. So, and what we are doing, so we are still performing add, subtract and divide, but this time we are without passing the variables a and b as an argument. So that's important thing to note. So what's happening? So it's gonna refer to self.a here, and then it's gonna take the value, whatever value you pass during class initialization, or during class initialization, and it's gonna do the summation for add, subtraction for this one, and divide for this one. So you could actually see it's like, so here are the three different ways in doing it. So you could just choose anything you want. Let's say you just want to import this class, and then let's say you want to perform add by passing two arguments. So you could use this one. Let's say you want to perform, I mean, you want to pass the arguments only once, but you want to perform all the operations like add, subtract and divide. You could use this one and this one. Where in this case you're actually playing with a global variable for this class. Here you're actually playing with the class variable. So if you observe closer, so we pass self, self, self. So it is like it's like reference to the class itself. So you have to pass it by default. Let's say if you don't have any arguments. So that's what you're doing there. So now here in the class example, we are actually importing all these three classes as LV, GV and OV. You could call that anything you want. The first one is a local variable, which is this one. So I'm calling directly the class itself. Then I'm calling the function add. I'm passing the two variables. So I'm doing the same for the rest of the function. I call subtract, I pass two different variable. But if you notice here, I didn't specify what should be A and what should be B. So it can take it by itself. The 8 will be A and 5 will be B. If you reverse the order, B equals 8 and A equals 5, so it will set automatically. So if you do a subtraction of this one, you will get a positive value. So it's to show that here. And then now we are playing with the global variable class, this one. So we are actually creating an object of this class. Here A is the object of the class. So this is a reference to the class, and A is the object of the class, and B is also the object of the class. So once we pass the variables variable values for A and B during object creation, so these global values A, B will get initialized automatically. That's the reason why I have written this this thing in initialization function. So it will initialize the value for A and B, and then you can call all the methods that you want to perform the operations. So it will do addition, subtraction, division for all the object. For the object A, and it will do the same for object B here. Now here, but this is with the global variable A and B. So in this case, you're creating object of class OB. You're creating two objects C and D. You're passing two different arguments during the class creation. So, and you're calling the methods to perform the operation. Here you are initializing the class variable and you are doing the operation with the class variable. So that's the difference. Now let's go ahead and execute this. Our code should run like a charm, So if you see here, B equals 8, A equals 5, so it automatically assigns. So you don't have to worry about the order, first A and next B. No, you don't have to. So it actually picks up the values by itself. The A will go to A and B will go to B. So the difference is -3. So in this case, the first one is A and the second one is B by default, because that's how it is in function class definition, class function definition, as well as function definition. So it will take as per the order in which A comes first and then B second. So that's it. With this one, you could actually master object-oriented programming in Python. So yeah, thanks for buying this course. If you guys are interested in machine learning using scikit-learn, you could go ahead and buy that. Yeah, that's it for this one. Thanks for buying this course. Bye for now.